Hello YouTube, this is Agent here, and today I'm bringing you another Wargame European Escalation Commentary. Again, we're on the multiplayer map Open Range for a 4v4 game. However, this game I was testing out a new deck I was trialing, which is based primarily on helicopters and airborne forces with a few light armoured units brought in. As you can see, the MI9, the MI28 Havoc, the M16, the MI24 Hind with infantry carried in it. My plan was to advance quickly to Delta and to secure it, therefore pinning their forces down at Alpha, Kilo and Charlie, and allowing my allies to advance and take Echo, Golf, Foxtrot and Hotel, thus giving us a significant economical advantage for the remainder of the game. As you can see, the Havocs are now flying rapidly in. An advanced Gazelle reconnaissance chopper has spotted them, but unfortunately for them it's unarmed, and the Havocs can quickly dispatch it with their autocannons. Quick gain for us. Also, we've noticed that they have brought up their command armor unit ahead of all their other units, so the Havocs make a quick hit and run, destroying it. And the infantry are being brought in. He has brought up some artillery round 2s to attempt to dispatch my helicopter boarding forces, but the Havocs quickly engage it. Unfortunately, other units are brought up and the Havocs engage them, and the Martyr nets a quick kill with one of the Havocs. However, I bring my Mi-24s out in front of it, so the Martyr 2 will prioritise them instead of the Havoc, allowing it to, and then refocusing the Havoc on the Martyr 1 2. We've also brought in an armoured recon helicopter, however it quickly runs out of its rockets, netting the Vapuzi a quick kill. As you can see, we've rapidly pushed them back from Delta, allowing my allies to advance without hindrance and to take off a high point in the zone, and I'm deploying my Mi-2D command helicopter, allowing us to secure Delta and reinforce directly into it. The chaparrals are also out of anti-aircraft missiles, making them quick targets, and now with Delta secured, we can now reinforce directly into the zone. However, they are still bringing up several AA units, such as the Black Panzer Gepards, the AMX Rolands, Chaparral once it's refueled with rockets, and they also are bringing in Cobras and are getting the artillery to train down on our units, quickly knocking out the Vapuzis, the VEVs, PTR Conquerors and other units such as that. However, they have managed to flank us significantly with a much recon, 2 tank destroyers and 8 VAVs carrying shoulders from us infantry. This is particularly worrying as when they penetrate through their vehicles, they can do significant damage, as a lot of our forces are concentrated in the fronts. The Chaparral has now been resupplied, and at the start of the game it was vetted to max veterancy, making this an incredibly dangerous missile. As you can see, my allies brought some Mi-24 BTs and quickly knocked it out. A significant point gain for us as the vetted Chaparral is worth a lot of points. There are still some Cobras flying around, and the Rolands are still here, meaning that my airborne forces cannot advance easily without the risk of counter fire. And unfortunately the VAVs are still very much advancing, and the much recon unit is definitely a concern. As you can see, I have spotted the VAVs and have posted a defense warning marker to my allies who have moved their EAZ out. My My Mi-2 command helicopter was destroyed quickly by artillery due to the fact that it has no armor protection, so we've lost control of Delta. The Cobras made quick work of an attack in Mott Houston infantry force. Alpha is definitely causing us a lot more concern to attack than Delta. As you can see, I'm bringing in some Mi-28 Havocs and Mi-9 reconnaissance helicopters to try and hit the flank. I know their command vehicle was being pulled out of Alpha, so I was hoping if I could move around the flank, I could destroy it quickly enough. Some Black Panther Gepards are causing a bit of trouble to my ATGM helicopters, and I'm marking out the attacking force more for my allies. Hopefully we can take out these infantry before they can do too much damage. My allies brought Tunguskas to combat Flak Lancer Kephars. And my BTR Zalo tank destroyers are now moving in alongside. Hopefully these will clear out any of the units. Unfortunately, they've also deployed some lad stingers in the town. The BTR Zalos are not effective against these. However, due to the angling, they can't get a good view on my Havocs. They only managed to score one hit before I could retreat them out of range. And the Havocs have proceeded to help the BTRs, destroying 2 MBT-70s and 3 Patton tanks. This is an point advantage for us, and has led us and put us in a very strong position. Now we have Delta under our control. However, the VABs are still doing a lot of trouble. I've brought in one of my reconnaissance helicopters from the front line to keep spotting them to help identify the threat level. The MBTs have just managed to escape. The town is held by and some ATM Milans who were advancing to try and knock out my allies' tanks on the line are quickly dealt with the Mox chasing them in the town. Again, the Havocs move forward in an attempt to knock out the MBT-70s before they can be repaired, but the Stingers are still in range. I managed to destroy the supply truck for the MBT-70s, ensuring that they will not be repaired. This panics them. And another 2 ATMs finishes them off fairly quickly. However, the Stingers are still in the town and present a significant threat. These are definitely, my Havocs are definitely won't be effective against this kind of force, so I try and pull them back as quickly as possible, marking them out for my allies, who will hopefully come in and destroy them. One of the Havocs is now in a very bad way, so I mark them out. Hopefully my allies will come into the rescue. Over here I have brought in some of my helicopters from the front line. They'll make quick work of the social from mass VAB and tank destroyers as they have no real protection. And my Salamandra anti-tank helicopter will further aid this process. However, one unit manages to escape the carnage and is now heading straight into Bravo, where we have 2 FOBs and 1 undefended command vehicle. My helicopters have now been pulled away far from the battle, so where they can retreat in safety. Unfortunately, despite stalling the Stingers, my ally does not manage to destroy them completely. I was unaware of this, and as such, this could turn out quite bad later. The remaining soldiers from us are being steadily wiped out, while a counterattack with several tank destroyers, recon, and main battle tanks could provide a threat to Delta. These tank destroyers have quite dangerous ATGMs. My allies' T-80s are struggling to compete. However, I brought in one of my Havocs to hopefully deal with them, as they do not have any AA units in the vicinity. As you can see, they are bringing a search party of 4 Cobras, trying to sweep the woods to see where my Havocs have gone. Hopefully they can outnumber them. Up here I bring in a recon helicopter to try and deal with the soldiers from mass. However, it only spotted them as they were cresting the hill, allowing them to fire directly on it. Now I know that one of their units has managed to sneak past right into the heart of our base, so I call in another armed recon helicopter and 3 T-55 tanks to deal with it as quickly as possible. These forces, I still know that they have some infantry and tank destroyers hidden in the woods, so I leave these behind to deal with them, while up at the front line, these forces have been pushed back to the woods by my Havoc. The Cobras are being brought in. However, we do have several Tunguska anti-aircraft guns, not the Tunguska M's, but they will still do a fine job. The Zell recon helicopters are still spotting some of our forces, as well as these advancing T-72s. meaning that the artillery from Charlie will do some damage. As you can see, they've been pushed back to a position where they now have more command vehicles in sectors than they can control. The opposite is true for us. We could easily take Foxtrot, Hotel, Golf and Echo, as well as potentially Mike, but we do not have the points to be able to do this, as we have spent a lot of points pushing them back at this point. Also, I'm sending quite a lot of units countering this threat. The Mi-24s, the Mi-2 Earn and the T-55s all wipe out these forces. Tank destroyers have been scared away by my Salamandra ATKM helicopters, and despite this, and all they have is a few scattered infantry units remaining. At the moment we have around a 1,000 points advantage and are feeling fairly confident, seeing as we have pushed them back so far. We now want to consolidate our position and start buying command vehicles so that we can outpoint them. Unfortunately, while the Tunguskas have scared away the Cobras, 4 new tank destroyers are being brought into range. These will be very dangerous for the Tunguskas, and the T-72 will not be able to save the situation. My Havocs and my 9 reconnaissance helicopter are now being resupplied by my 26 supply helicopter. This is a very expensive but very effective unit. 2 of these carry the same amount of supplies as an FOB, while still costing up to around 2 to 3 times as much. They are still a very effective way of getting large amounts of supplies to the army. As you can see, the Cobras are now advancing to try and sort out our remaining units now that the Tunguskas have been destroyed by the tank destroyers. Unfortunately, we still have several Mi-24 Hinds which use their Yak-B cannons against the Cobras, and the Special Forces will also be effective. I'm calling in a 2K-22M Tunguska, which will be able to provide air cover while remaining safely behind our lines, hopefully away from the tank destroyers. We have brought in our own support vehicles equipped with the D-70 cannon to deal with the tank destroyers. Unfortunately, the Sheridans points on my Spetsnaz and quickly wipe them out. As you can see, the Stingers are still very much here, although some of them were wiped out, the others remain. I'm unaware of this, as they are still well hidden in the town, and I think they see the presence of the Mont-Houston and assume that Alpha is more or less ours. As you can see, he has brought in another 2 chaparrals, each with a small amount of veterancy, ranging from 1 to 3, as well as Hemet supply trucks to refuel them. Seeing the amount of forces that they are near Kilo and the fact that he only has a few tank destroyers to defend it, he pulls back his VAB PC to Charlie. I've highlighted the presence of the Sheridans, and now the armoured supply trucks are being called in to help refit fuel and repair these forces against the counter-attack of the chaparrals, which will advance first to push back the Mi-24 Hinds. I try and bring in my Havocs to help out. Unfortunately, the Stingers are still here, and my Mi-26 ran out of supplies before I could repair them. I was completely taken by surprise by the presence of the Stinger teams, and one of my Havocs was near instantly destroyed. As you can see, my supply helicopter is now going back to refuel. My T-55s are now coming in. The fight here is unfortunately the chaparrals are now taking out my allies' helicopters, leaving this a severely weakened force. The Stinger team finishes their 3-piece by destroying both my recon helicopter and the 2 Havocs. This was a very bad loss for me, as they were definitely the centerpiece of my army, and now with a single Stinger team has wiped them out.